This meeting, I've received quite a few slides from people that were both here in Texas, and then we also have a couple of people who went to India, to Italy, to Guyana, to Argentina, to Brazil. So I hope you enjoy what I put together. We'll start off here in Texas. Karen and Michael Strzelecki, they pretty much travel around to a lot of our state parks and get some great photos and send them to me. Why don't I turn this on? Nope, I'm gonna have to do it manually. Oh, crap. I don't know why this does this to us.
Windows 10.
Now, this is Windows 11, but yeah, you're right. It's just, so we'll start off with, Michael gets some great photos of close-ups. They don't really tell me who in the family is taking the photos, so I'm assuming it's both of them. Brown creeper, that are always hard. And that first picture you saw was the white-eyed bureau. You know how easy they are to get photos. The white-breasted nuthatch, they're fun to watch. Black skimmer. Dunlin. Blackneck still. And you'll have to remember these. There will be a test at the end. Wilson's phalarope. They actually got one that was standing still, but it has food in its mouth. So they're fun to watch whenever they are in our area, and they just do the circle and circle and circle. American avocet. Yeah, ruddy turnstone. An American flamingo.
Yeah, rams this one.
Yeah. We were down there last month. I didn't see one, but one that hanging around.
And I think Michael was the last person to get into the drying beds.
Actually, I broke into them last week.
Day right here.
Let's when? What?
May 31st. I think that was the last day we could get in.
Okay. Yeah, it was about that time frame that I remembered. Yeah. And a good shot of a yellow warbler. Had quite a few of those a couple of weeks ago on our counts.
Probably got one of those.
Wilson's warbler. And I remember when I first started birding in 2000, I took a photo of a red-winged female blackbird, and for the life of me, I had to go to Martin Reed to tell me what it was, because it looked so ferocious, and it's sitting on top of a little plant looking right at me. But I was a beginner.
If it looks like a sparrow grosbeak, then you got it.
Blue-gray gnatcatcher.
Watch those this year.
An American pipit down in Cedar Hill.
Yes.
And a greater roadrunner, my favorite patriotic bird with its red, white, and blue eyebrow. And our club motto, the Harris sparrow and the Savannah sparrow.
Is that a juvenile or a female?
Of what? The Harris?
Harris?
No, that's a male.
Is it?
Yeah, probably a Judy. Yeah, it's probably also first year. It's taken on February 1st, so it was puffed up. And a Vesper. There's the eyebrow, eye brain. So thanks, Karen. 2 weeks ago, we had our spring bird count, and Brian joined me down at the Lake Worth Dam and down below the dam in Field State Fish Hatchery. So he shared a number of his photos that he took for the day. I used to do what he did, get on my knees and look through the weeds, and he got home and said, "I found ticks." And I stood behind him and pointed at the birds, so I didn't get ticks. There's a red-winged blackbird just starting to show its colors this year. Great blue heron flew over several times on the dam. Another red-winged blackbird. He did come up with some really pretty photos that morning. Green heron. And we startled him right along the shoreline, and he flew out into the tall reeds from the dam and stood there and looked back at us. Female mallard. Lots and lots of western kingbirds. We had so many at the dam compared to our great big sit last Thursday down at Richland Creek Wildlife Management with Ted Drozdowski. We had, it must have been over 40 eastern kingbirds. They were swarming all around us. They were mad at us. And
where at? What lake?
it's on the other side of Richland Chambers Reservoir. It's the north unit for the Richland Creek Wildlife Management Area.
Okay.
It's a 5,000 acre marsh. Yeah, it's just on the east of Corsicana. Blue-winged teal. They were so easy to identify with that great big white base. And one cattle egret. That had to be a record. Now, I was hoping Jim would be here for these because I think it was pectoral and I think it was a greater yellow legs on the right. I'm talking, that's the pectoral and that's the greater yellow legs. I went through my books on the shorebirds and saw the eye ring for this one, a half eye ring, and anyways, any input from anybody is okay, thank you. Killdeer. We were having a great morning, seeing a lot of shorebirds below the dam, and then this couple showed up with a Labrador not on a leash, and that dog was running back and forth up and down the river, and just it came down from Sampson's Park, if you're familiar with Lake Worth Dam, and I'm sure that the guy who operates the cameras probably didn't care, but he was watching it too. I saw the camera was aimed at us. A western sandpiper was my best guess because of the legs. There was a pair of them.
Might I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
What's the easiest way to tell those from the downlines? Is the leg color?
From the what?
Downlines.
This time of year, the Dunlin will have black on the belly at least starting.
Okay, because that's a juvenile devil recently. I wasn't sure.
Well, this pair was actually with a whole bunch of lease, and they weren't too much bigger. Okay. I mean, I'm talking like maybe 5% bigger. They just were, then they were feeding by themselves, and then they wandered off into the weak reeds. That's the least. Greater. And I think that shot is the most unusual shot I've seen of a black vulture in the water. He flew in, landed with a splash, and just stared at us. I was hoping Brian was here because he's actually into butterflies names and. But this one here, he actually, that protuberance is that what that's called? Digging down into the
Proboscis.
flower, proboscis.
Isn't that a dark morph swallowtail?
Yeah, could be.
What are
It's but we invite these kind of photos because they have wings.
I'll keep that in mind.
Dragonflies are really get carried away. And then another yellow warbler, and he just was in the reeds, just looking out at us. The brown-headed cowbird. This one just had unusual colors that it had me baffled when I first looked at it, but
Juvenile.
the bill is
Here. One of those this year too.
yeah.
Oh,
An American crow who was rearranging that tree. And just as we were getting ready to leave, and this bird was so funny because I didn't use my call or anything. I just looked at him and said, well, right here is where we usually see a Swainson's thrush. This bird popped up. So we don't have to play their song. Pardon? Yeah, he carded me.
so, it's not unethical to use thrush calls to bring him out?
Well, we don't like to, and I don't usually
Okay.
unless it's a fun trip and somebody who's with me who's never seen one. But if you're down in the Old State Fish Hatchery back in the back end, you don't really need to call them. You just have to sit there back there and they'll come out for you. Because they're curious about it.
Yeah.
So thanks to Brian. And Amanda, she traveled quite a bit. Where were these, Amanda? At under the bridge? Yeah, a friend came up and showed me his photo that his wife took. Yeah, but there was 4.
You're exactly right.
Yes, under the bridge it was on 183 under the bridge going just before it joined 35, right? Yeah. And because his picture had 4 lined up on that pipe. I wanted to go there and then I forgot, and then I saw your photo. I said, crap. There's a great shot of a black-bellied plover. We were excited to get that one last Thursday. Gave us our number of species. Hopefully we'll win in the competition. I can't tell you how many birds we saw yet, but it's a box sparrow.
Okay, skinny.
And there's a good shot of a Lacans. Was that up in Hagerman or here?
No, that was at Ray Rock State Park,
Oh, okay, but north of here. Yeah.
out there. Messaged the person that had put the pictures up, and she told me exactly where she'd seen it, and I went out there. Popped up right.
Yeah. It's yeah, for me, my first one was up at Hagerman where they knew exactly what fence it would pop up on. And it popped right up just when the vans pulled up to it. Now, was it facing east or west?
Facing west.
Okay, so western Meadowlark.
Is that really how you can tell?
I call it, if it's west of Fort Worth, it's a west, and if it's east of Fort Worth, it's this. There is a way that you can tell, but it's
Well, because down on
primarily you really can tell with the song if they're singing. They are distinctive that way. But when they're here in the wintertime, they're not singing that much.
right.
Maybe in April.
I don't like Winscott plover and see them all the time, but
Right.
trying to identify them when they're not singing is so hard.
Right.
It just says Meadowlark.
Yeah.
You can't really see, but if you're holding one in your hand, I've seen pictures, the pattern of the tail feathers different.
Okay.
I don't remember which is which.
Right.
Normally they're hopping around, you can't see the fine detail on the tail.
Okay.
Other than that, there's so much overlap and the amount of yellow and the white on the.
And if you know, like if you do a Google search, down at the University of Houston, one of the colleges down there are interns that you can get their PDFs that they wrote for their master's degree. And they have some, if you just type in the bird name, you'll get this, and also some of our other visitors. There's really good definition showing them. Now, they're showing you the dead ones that they've collected, but it's lifting the wings. And prairie warbler, that's a good photo.
Lots of those this year.
Is this south of Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah, Wolf Spring Road.
Down in South Texas.
Oh, South Texas. Because we supposedly had the swallowtails over in South Dallas County.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Here?
no, Oregon.
Oh.
And that's the only bird she got out there. They were flew out there and got that quit.
I used to eat those on the regular.
Oh, you got an ear grebe too. Okay.
Oh.
Lewis woodpecker. Sage sparrow. Were you in Eastern or Western?
We start.
Yeah. From the high desert and going east, west then. Yeah.
Eastern portion looks like West Texas.
Yep. Yeah, it's a high desert. Yeah. White-headed. Yeah. And I believe it.
This is where I threw the binoculars on the ground and went, watch those.
So then she went to Italy to get the black wings still. Were you there on business or vacation? I was going to enlarge this. Sorry, folks, I usually take my software and I'm show the large view from the same photo. The Eurasian nuthatch. Yeah. Is that a juvie or I see heavy striping? It just okay. Yeah, that's definitely a pretty. And down to Belize she went. Bare-throated tiger heron. And black-headed trogon.
About the American trogon that was seen in Arizona or South Texas just this last week. That must be it.
It looks like he's about the size of a pencil. What he's sitting on. Oh, okay.
He calls everywhere. He was very. That was my favorite.
Man, Fergus pygmy out.
Yeah.
Got that little pygmy kingfisher.
Ooh, creeper. Ooh. Look at that bill.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, just.
Yeah, for eating those snails. They're starting to migrate west from Florida along the coastline. And people have seen them in Beaumont and southern Louisiana, wherever they're, because they're losing their snail food up in Florida from all the work that they've done, changed the water quality and the. And a yellow-throated warbler.
That patio where I took the picture is named the Yellow Throat Warbler Patio.
The patio is named after the bird.
Let me guess, that thing could change like greens with one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. Now, Jan and Sandra, they had to, they're visiting their daughter for her birthday. So he said that they weren't going to be here, but he did send me some nice photos. We're going to start off in Netherlands, and I'm not going to pronounce the names. You're going to have to work with me, but he added the Dutch name for the birds that he submitted. The Eurasian magpie, Exter, I got that one. And Egyptian goose.
So look, I could all.
He went back home to visit with his parents, the family did, and he bicycled around and caught these pictures. Eurasian sparrowhawk.
Okay.
And in his notes, he said that they were the common buzzard was watching the white owl's nest on the ground, and his nest was apparently in all those dirt clods. I like that. Eurasian jackdaw or cow. Cow. And a green woodpecker. And these, like I said, they're all from this first batch was from Netherlands. The white wagtail again. And he stopped to drink water, and this bird flew out to look at him on his bicycle handlebar. And the common buzzard again. And just quickly, that this is he wanted to add this about how they name birds. Most of the bird names come from the Middle Ages, and you would never have a bird in Netherlands using someone's name or location. So, but one of the striking middle names was for the Bohemian waxwing, and it was called the bubonic plague bird because whenever it showed up during the Middle Ages, as they migrated through, the plague cases increased. But that was also because that was when the rats were coming out. So
the spring rains.
And so they apparently tried to hunt the Bohemian waxwing to where they would just, there were no longer any birds around. And they weren't successful. So that's what he shared with me.
So, pardon me, are Bohemian waxwings native to Europe and introduced to the US? Or did
Don't
they
know
just
if they
make
had-
their way here?
They probably just made their way here.
Okay.
It's a northern, the waxwing for us is, it's a northern bird. If we see one down here, please post it, and then you'll have a whole bunch of people go look at it in Texas. But they have been seen here. So back here in Texas, he was driving over to Texarkana and stopped in Atlanta to get this photo. And it's, now the rest of these photos are all from his home. He lives near the Trinity River in downtown Fort Worth. His backyard is fairly close to the river, where Tom Haas takes his Sunday morning bird walks. And he sees like this nest, he and his wife would look out their kitchen window eating breakfast and would watch these great blues. I don't know if you've never had a chance to go and watch the mating and the building of the nest, go to the Children's Hospital in Dallas at the Rookery, and you're close enough, and it's fun watching them, not these, but well, the great blues, but also the egrets. And then you'll watch the males bring in a stick, the female will take it, and if she doesn't like it, she throws it away. You know, it's just real marriageable, you know, a big argument going on. And it was cold that day. I see why the bird was looking at him. And calling grackle, but staring right at him in his backyard.
What time of year was that?
That was that cold spell we had 3 days in February.
Oh,
Now, this was the Scissortail flycatcher. He said he took this photo when he was with Tom Haas on this Sunday morning hike at the end of the month with Gene. White-throated sparrow in his backyard.
watch those this year.
Yeah. Dark-eyed junco.
Is it just me, or do they seem like there are fewer numbers this year?
In my backyard, I had very few. I don't know, you know, I usually have one or two.
I normally get about 20.
I haven't,
30
didn't,
a
I had
year.
one this year and that was it.
Yeah.
And he didn't stay.
Oh,
Fox sparrow. And for those who go looking, fox sparrows come in 3 or 4 different looking colors. So, you know, make sure you're looking at it, but the gray head and his beautiful brown reddish colors are there on all of them. Another Harris sparrow. Oh, he uses the high dollars bird food. Look at that. He's right down there on all those corn. And I can't do that. I've got viral squirrels. And they would go after that corn. Vesser or Savannah. I'm not sure. I've looked and looked and looked and yeah, he's puffed up and you know, just yeah. But as I look through my sparrow book at various colors for Texas, I just it could be a Savannah, which looks like a lot of sparrows, and it might be the Vesper. That eye ring right there, or not eye ring, but that little white crown and the little white area right there.
mustache.
Yeah, so I wasn't really sure. So I just said both. Yeah, large sparrow.
Still, pretty good.
Yeah.
Where you finding that?
I find mine whenever I'm in a sparrow road to look in the gravel. They really seem to like it down on the ground and they're popping around. And but
Is that an elm?
what?
Is that like that's a winged elm. Okay. The trees and
Oh, yeah. Don't know. and a sparrow. That gray face and gray neck with the red. What do you think, Chuck? Lincoln's? I thought so, but I wasn't sure, so I chose to shorten it. From now on, he's a sparrow.
Oh.
And they were down in Florida for some reason and got a pileated woodpecker.
I've got that on my eBird alert list, and every time I go look for one, I still miss it.
Tyler State Park is, I've had good luck at there. That's just, but they're also up in Hagerman. And there's a city park over in Richardson that they tell me there's occasionally
I've
seen.
been out there a couple times, miss every time.
Yeah. And American goldfinch, the way they look in Texas in the winter. I'm not really sure what happened to the lighting that turned his feet orange, but I guess it's,
It's red clogs.
yes.
It's like that.
And another scissor tail flycatcher down there on the river. So, thank you, Jan and Sandra.